Hey everybody, John from Dragonfly here. So I'm gonna make a quick video about RAM considerations with the 2950X build. So this is one of those difficult builds that if you're gonna go this route, you need to make some considerations as far as RAM is concerned. Don't waste your money on 4000 megahertz or 4600 megahertz OC RAM. It's not going to work with the 2950X. I've seen one person get it to 3200. Most people struggle with stability over 3000 megahertz with memory with this build. So I went with 2933 and I haven't had any stability problems. But I would just say do not go wasting thousands of dollars buying, maybe 32 or 64 gigabytes of RAM that are way above 3000 megahertz, because I don't think you're going to get that speed out of it. Secondly, Samsung B die. Make sure that you go for the Samsung B die. If you're going to spend all the money on a build at this level, do not skimp on the RAM, because it's obviously a big part of what you're doing. So Samsung B die is the best, and you got to look for that in the RAM that you buy. So, not all, that can be a little bit difficult to find when you're looking at the specs, but make sure that you dig deep in any memory that you're considering and try to get the Samsung B die on that memory, because it's going to make a big difference for you. On that same note, I would say look for RAM that's actually certified for the AMD Ryzen Threadripper series. There are RAM, even though there are motherboard manufacturers that have, QVL, whatever they're called, like qualified vendor lists or whatever for RAM, and you can look at those. But they're not always updated, especially in the case of ASRock, which is the motherboard I went with. Their lists are a little outdated, and there is now memory that is certified to work with the Threadripper. Threadripper does things differently than other CPUs have in the past, so that's why they've made memory that specifically is tailored to what the Threadripper does. So I would go and look for that, because there are specific certifications. I mean, in the past it was just, RAM is RAM, and it doesn't matter what CPU you have, you just buy it. In this case, and especially with the kind of money we're talking about, you want to make sure that you get RAM that's specifically, and you will see, if you go and do your research, you will see lots of blog posts and forum posts and Reddit posts and articles, people struggling with memory with this combination. I have had no memory issues in terms of stability. I've had some overclocking issues, and that's the last thing I want to get to, is that you may need to manually overclock your RAM, so you have to be prepared for that. I'm going to include a quick guide, even though it's already been done. I'm going to include a quick guide on how to manually overclock your RAM using the Ryzen DRAM calculator and a little freeware software called Typhoon Burner. But you just have to be prepared that just flipping on XMP, it may work and it may not. I've had two motherboards. The first one, when I flipped it to the XMP profile, couldn't boot to the BIOS. I had to manually dial in all the settings, and then once I did that, it ran perfectly stable, no issues whatsoever. The second, when I RMA'd that board and I got a new board, I dialed in the manual settings right out of the gates. I skipped just going to XMP, and I dialed in all the settings since I already had them printed out, and then that board wouldn't boot. And actually, in the case of the second board, which is the one I have now, all I had to do was enable XMP, and fine, I haven't had a single issue, no stability problems whatsoever, and it's run at the speed that it's supposed to, which is 2933, without any problems. So that is my summary of the RAM considerations for when you're pairing it with the 2950X on the X399 platform. A little tricky of a decision, a little bit trickier than previous builds that I've done, where RAM was just how fast can you get. That is a consideration with this, but there's other considerations with this with the AMD architecture. So hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll make a quick guide on how to manually overclock RAM using the Ryzen DRAM calculator and Typhoon Burner. Thanks a lot. Check out my other videos, and talk to you soon.